first meeting, a group of people, not the president. That group of people says the meeting didn't take place. The only person who was alleged it is Cohen. Second meeting, the president's office. In walks Donald Trump Jr., says we're meeting with the Russians. Never took place.
Here now is Ari Fleischer, former press secretary for President George W. Bush and a Fox News contributor. Ari, thank you for joining us. So it was kind of surreal this afternoon. We were sitting there, we were talking about the fact that he had said multiple times this morning President Trump was not at the meeting. And we were sort of wondering aloud on the couch, no one said he was at the meeting. Why are you saying he's not there? It seemed like an answer to a question nobody had asked. Apparently he was watching, he called into us, and he offered that further explanation that you just heard. What do you make of all this from a messaging point of view?
Yeah, and I thought Melissa, you and Harris did a good job probing in to figure out precisely what the mayor was talking about there. It's a head scratcher. Maybe Rudy was just being figurative about here's one allegation, here's the second allegation. Obviously, the second allegation is impossible because there was no meeting. But when you begin it by saying the second meeting, you just create confusion. So I think there's still some more cleanup needed here. Look, this is one of those deals where either you believe them or you don't. And if Donald Trump says there was no meeting, it never took place. Donald Trump Jr. says it. Michael Cohen says there was. You've got a he said versus the he said. Who knows where the truth lies? The president says it was one way. Unless there's proof, it's hard to pin anything on the president on that.
He made the point that the only place where this fight really counts right now is in the court of public opinion, that, you know, in his mind, Mueller can't really do anything to the president while he's in office. So what really counts right now for the job at hand is what people think. Do you agree with that? And overall, do you think they're winning the battle of public opinion?
Yeah, I overwhelmingly agree with that. This matter, as it should be by the Constitution, singularly is a political matter because the only group that can remove the president is the House of Representatives and the Senate, and that consists of politicians who will respond to the people in their states. So the president has done a very strong job discrediting Bob Mueller over the recent months, but I caution the most important PR move of all is yet to come, and that's Bob Mueller's report. And because Bob Mueller's report is going to be based on substance and facts, it won't be a political document, it will have even more political impact. Now, we don't know what it will say, and it very well may exonerate the president. There may be no collusion, just as the president says. We don't know, and that's why I've always said you just have to let Mueller finish his job.
So, but he's really trying to undermine, you know, what you said there. I mean, you say that it's going to be based on facts, that it's not going to be a political document, and he's always trying to make the case that it is a political document. You don't think any part of this coming out from Mueller is political? You think it's wholly above board?
Well, we'll have to wait and see how they write it. But, yeah, I do believe that. Look, I've got a problem with the Democratic staffers and the Democratic donors. I think Bob Mueller really hurt his own cause of being impartial and independent when he hired so many biased people to put on there. But we don't know yet if their deeds are going to be biased, if the review is going to be biased. If it is, it will smell of bias. You can tell. Peter Strzok smelled of bias despite him denying it. If Mueller's people do the same thing, we'll know it. I don't think Bob Mueller, a man that I know and respect, would ever let that happen on his watch, and that's why I've regularly defended him from the day he was appointed through today. That's just how I see it, and we'll see what he says.
Let me ask you real quick before we run out of time about the battle that the president is having right now in public with the New York Times, how their publisher has said that he's creating a dangerous environment by, you know, saying that the media is enemy of the people. The flip side of that, if you look at it, is you choose the enemy you want and you elevate them. Obviously, the president uses Twitter to create battles that he thinks works for him. Is this one working for him, or is it dangerous in your opinion?
It's both. Look, I've talked to a number of White House reporters. I talked to one this morning who has to have security because she's so fearful now of what people are saying to her, and she's getting death threats. That's not helpful or appropriate. It's inappropriate. But let me make 2 points here. The president is right about the press's bias, and the president is right to fight back. The press has been biased against him from the start, and so he's right to fight back. What I wish he wouldn't do is fight back on a level where individuals get targeted. Take on the press corps. Take on the bias. Protect the individuals, because the president can unleash a lot, And that's just not right. It's not fair to the individuals. And so I make that distinction between the press at large and some of those individuals. Even if you think there's an individual out to get you, boy, is there a power from the presidency or the White House press secretary. If they single that person out, people will do things that they shouldn't do, and we should protect from that.
Ari, always terrific. Thank you for your insight. Appreciate it.